Hello, I'm Lloyd, and welcome to episode 3 already of Pubs of the Shire. This episode's guest is David Jesudason, an award-winning freelance writer and journalist, writing about beer, pubs and their social history, including multiculturalism and Desi pubs. We'll take a metaphorical National Express and visit Hartlepool, Leeds, Dunstable and beyond. This episode covers Giant Connect 4, rock stars in Sinclair C5s and so much more. Warning, this may contain profanity and an almighty sneeze from a customer during the interview. We met up in the Camera award-winning Robin Hood pub in St Albans, a free house which had a Harvey's brewery showcase, plus a jukebox, piano, bar billiards and bar skittles, so fun to be had there then. Over the centuries, St Albans has had 90 pubs and currently still has 30. We talk about the Duchess of York pub and music venue in Leeds, which was demolished in 2000, but hosted many bands including Nirvana, Oasis, Blur and Coldplay, to name a few. Hello, we're at the Robin Hood pub in St Albans, and I'm here to meet David Jesudason, writer, journalist, Desi pub expert and many other things. Hello.
Hi, thanks for inviting me. Very happy to be here.
Thank you. You want to tell us a bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I've been a journalist for about 20 years, freelance for about 5 years as a sort of writer-journalist, author of a book called Desi Pubs, which are British Indian pubs, which was published in 2023 and has been numerous awards, been nominated for, featured on Radio 4's food programme. They're like looking at the legacy of it. So I guess that's what I'm most famous for. But I have written regularly for Pellicle, Vittles, The Guardian, BBC Culture.
Brilliant. Right. So to begin with, have you got a favourite beer or a current beer or all-time beer? That's a hard question.
So I think it's really difficult in this day and age, isn't it? With the amount of beers that are on offer, different kind of beer styles. So I grew up in a place where Green King was like very all the pubs nearly were Green King pubs. My dad used to drink Green King IPA. Right. I still do. I find it like, unbelievable. You can go to Wetherspoons, have it for under £2. Yeah. It's usually really well conditioned. Yeah. But what I find it's interesting that it's much maligned by a lot of people who don't like it.
Yeah, there's a bit of a stigma somehow.
Yeah, it's like I think it's like, but I think when it comes to the sort of tradition of those kind of late 19th century, early 20th century IPAs, then that is as near to as the style as you're going to get. Maybe very low ABV, I guess.
Yeah, so there's no flounce with them, they're just what they are.
I think so. I think that
in a good way.
I think it's a heritage beer.
Yeah,
But I don't really understand. I guess it's not trendy.
No.
It's like very... And people find it very difficult to understand because you put it against a modern, not necessarily an IPA, but like a modern British pale ale or something like that, or even a bitter. Then it's a completely different thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess it's like a traditional flavour against a contemporary flavour. In fact, for one of the. But
my sort of styles that I like currently are sort of big cask head, and pale ales are like. I do think that like a classic pale ale that I was just really enjoying are the ones that Mallisons do. They're a brewery in sort of West Yorkshire, maybe Leeds.
Oh, right.
And they have that kind of, you get a pale ale like yours. Yours is a slightly cloudy one. Where there's like very clear ones. Those are like when they have like very interesting like hop, noble hops or whatever, or like New World hops, and they have those kind of passion fruit like type thing. Like that's kind of my wheelhouse.
And I suppose like the water source possibly makes a difference as well, whether like that's local spring water or whatever, So
when it comes to the pale ales, it's supposedly suited softer waters,
right?
So you don't have to nudge the pH too much in those directions. I mean, in theory, it shouldn't make too much of a difference in modern brewing.
But
I definitely think it's that you can tell if you get like even a lager from like these kind of like soft water areas that they feel more cleaner. Less nudging.
Yeah, it must make a difference. I mean, I do sort of buy into that. Locally sourced, back in the spring or whatever. But I do buy into that though. So that brings me on to: have you got all-time favourite brewery or a current brewery that you're sort of enamoured with? Or
Yeah, I think my all-time favourite is Batham's.
Oh yeah.
In the sort of, just because they control, like they do, I think they do 3 beers. Like one of them might be a seasonal, and the other 2 aren't.
Yeah.
The bitter and the pale.
Right.
I think a bitter and a pale.
Yeah,
And but
yeah.
so you could only get them in their own pubs.
Yeah.
You might there are a couple that also do, but they check the cellar and all this kind of thing.
Yeah.
And their pubs are incredible, and so therefore the experience means that you just love the beer, and the beer is like
So it's sort of it's more sort of special. So it's quite localised.
They're only in the sort of West Midlands Black Country area.
Okay. Right.
So I highly recommend. And you go to, and I think it's the Vine. I have to check this. Sorry,
Yeah, that's
the
all right.
Vine is where they brew the beers.
Yeah.
Is a really fantastic pub, and probably and it's like I went there on like a sort of glum Tuesday afternoon, and it was just rammed full of people having like these beers with cobs. And it was just like, wow, this is really special.
Yeah.
I mean, and they made it open fermentation, so it's like really traditional bitters, and really, really good.
Yeah.
And sort of like, so they're like a family brewer.
Yeah.
And then I guess like the question is like the newer brewers, which are those kind of ones that which breweries like that, if I know a bar with craft beer, which is the one that the banker, the one that I would say Anspach and Hobday London Black. It's like which is incredible how far and wide that beer has gone, because I remember I went to Leuven, which is in Belgium, and Stella's made there.
Yeah,
it's like
a big Simpsons factory.
And it's there's this craft bar. I went there, and he was like, "Oh, you're from England. Oh, you must fancy a London Black." And it somehow got hold of a keg, and they were.
Wow.
And I was just like, what I like about it is that I think why Guinness is so successful is because of the way it looks in a glass. I think that goes for a long way. Also,
strongly.
People's like mouthfeel of it, how it feels the same whenever they've had it before, so it can connect to good memories. Yeah. But I think London Black offers all that, but also has more in its wheelhouse, more sort of oaky. There's more of that secondary flavour, which I feel dies with Guinness.
It's a little bit one-dimensional in that way, I think. Yeah, whereas like you say, if it's got an oaky finish, then that's got an extra kind of level to it. I think.
So I'm just going to take a photo of my empty pint, which is what I do for Instagram.
Do that
if there's good lacing.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's quite good lacing. Let's see how.
Have you got a favourite? You can either have a favourite bar snack or a pub meal, or both.
Yeah,
both.
Yeah, so I think the bar snack would be like the garlic mogo at the Regency.
Ooh.
So mogo is cassava,
right?
Which is a kind of like almost, what is it, like sweet potato style thing?
Okay.
Cassava is cassava, but it's that white thing that you. It's a carb.
Right, that's okay.
And
in hammer beer.
And so it is, I think it's something like triple cooked, like it's boiled, wok fried, deep fried.
Oh, yeah.
And then they go through huge amounts of this, garlic and chilli. It is absolutely phenomenal. And it's a classic grazing, So it's African Gujarati food, so it's like an Indian hyphenated African thing, and it's really good with beer.
Sounds really good. So, is that from somewhere in particular?
So the Regency, which is in Queensbury.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, you've got to go. It's so good.
Yeah. Have you got a favourite bar or pub you've been to on holiday? Be it England or internationally.
So when it comes to proper holidays, as in with my family, it's like, because I've got quite a young family. Yeah. We the recent ones have been like the bar at Eurocamp, which will be like we went to ones in France, and it basically was just like one keg, and then one boy, really. He looked like he was 16, dispensing about 100 beers of Stella. But I just recently back from Sardinia, and we forced the kids to have a more grown-up holiday.
Nice.
Which was fine because it was a beach and it was warm, and it actually was really good.
Yeah.
And Sardinia was really interesting because they have lots of German tourists. So there was
Yeah.
a bar that
Okay.
had some incredible German import beers.
Yeah.
And so we would just drink it out. And it's one of those
Yeah.
things where I do like a rock pub. And I
Yeah.
especially like it abroad because they kind of base it on loads of... They're usually Anglophiles, the people who run this.
Yeah.
Or because the music that is going to be in English, so they speak good English. And they're also interested in English culture. If you say you're from London, they like name a few bands, that kind of thing.
Well, I was going to say, even if you're in Newcastle, they think you're from London. I think that's near London, that day. So that's near London. Yeah.
So I kind of got into this idea. So we went to this place called Alghero, which I thought was a proper town, but only really opens for tourists.
Right.
And the guy, I noticed that one of the guys who was the servers, because there's no bar, you have to go and sit down, and you wait for the waiter to come over. It's tiresome.
Yeah.
You want to just go and you can see the beer.
Yeah.
He's just going to sit down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But anyway, I got chatting with him over went most days for 2 weeks. And I was like, why is it that you speak in English to Italian people? And he's like, I refuse to speak Italian because I'm Sardinian. And so he would speak, he had, and I was like, okay, right, which is sort of like, and I think that's kind of like, I think also it's really good to go to a pub when you're abroad because you don't know what people are saying.
No.
So it's so really mindful you're not listening to other people's conversations or getting annoyed by them. But also, like, here's the thing, I think beers abroad can be a lot better because they have better gas dispense.
Yeah.
So we have very flat pints here.
Yeah.
That's why I like cask because they're carbonated lightly. But when you go to keg here, unless you go to a few specialist places, they don't carbonate with the head. And
so you get on the continent, you'll have the froth palate
I love
and things like that, which you just don't get around here.
The best pint I had, so we were having very good like imported Erdinger pills. Trying to think of other ones like Fru pills and all this kind of and the Fru Kolsch, I should say. But we went to a went to an Italian restaurant. Of course, it's in Italy. Went to a pizza restaurant and had a Carlsberg, right? But not your 3.6.
No.
It was how I remember it to be, and it had a lovely head, and it had lots of fizz.
It was a bit
and
more
I was
robust.
just like, that was really good.
Yeah.
But then after 2 weeks of that, I was missing cask. My cask pale ales. Like, this is perhaps what shackled me most in this country is the beer. I mean, if you look at it like Europe, it's like we're one of the strong beer nations, aren't we?
Yeah.
You've got us, Belgium, Czech Republic, and Germany. And what all of those cultures have done is to properly ring fence their beer, and we haven't done that in a way that we should have done with cask. It should be used. If Belgium was used, go well heritage, so ours should be. And to miss it when you go abroad shows how enduring and different and how nice it is to just sit down and have a few pints and hopefully not have a hangover the next morning.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas with those, like I was saying, with those that Carlsberg being a 5%, good beer, but also but not sessionable as we would see it as Brits.
No.
I once spoke to a Belgian brewer who was contract brewing British beers. In fact, he was brewing King Cobra, which Cobra beer. They have like King Cobra was like a Belgian beer.
Okay.
And he was saying it wasn't hugely successful because British people like to drink beer and not have soft drinks in between. It's this idea that we will just see everything as sessionable. Which is quite interesting because perhaps that's not such a great idea, and it is good to moderate because even if you were to have 10 table beers, no, maybe not table beers, but I mean, I've tried it. How many Colonel table beers?
Yeah, well,
I've had quite a lot. I mean, but the point is we attack things in terms of volume, don't we?
Yeah.
Which might not necessarily be such a great idea.
No. So you were quite enamoured with the Sardinian pub. Was it pubby in style, or was it more of a bar, or was it doing the old pretend pub thing? Or?
No. I think that's why I liked it.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever been to a British pub transplanted abroad that I like. I think they would have benefited from a proper bar service.
Yeah.
Because there's lots of times when you're waiting for people. come on, the first two are going to be quicker. So,
we're not used to this. Sitting there waiting, wrapping your fingers.
Yeah. And so
I suppose it's just different culture, isn't it?
Yeah, they have that thing of, and sometimes it can be a bit judgy when you're like, and they're like, another straight away, and you're like, and sometimes I think they're like, do they want you to have the big one? They're like, big, you want the big one?
They're
like,
betting you.
Well, you were advertising it. And your carbonation is so good. By the time I get to the end of it, it won't be flat.
Heard about some pubs in Japan. They're quite new, like circa 2000, but they're made out like with beams, like old pubs, and they're really popular. Apparently, I was completely unaware. I've not been there, but
yeah, well,
it was like simulated pubs.
I wrote about Hobgoblin Witchwood Brewery, and they had these pubs. They licensed it, and they had these pubs in Japan. And they still the one in Roppongi, which my friends oddly, when I was telling them about the story, it hadn't been published yet. We were at the editing stage, and I told them about the story, and they were like, "Oh, yeah, we went to the one in Roppongi." And I was like, "Oh my god, well, I've been looking." So I interviewed them about it.
Yeah,
and they said it was just really weird. Like they landed, they had a long flight with changes. Landed in Japan and then went to like this English style pub, and because the people they were with were like really so proud that they existed, they wanted to force them to have fish and chips.
Right.
And they were kind of like, I really wanted to have sushi or whatever, and as you would,
something local, and
that's the thing that's a bit strange. I mean, is that it's great if you're an expat, I guess. Or if you want to watch sport, it's quite good, isn't it? Cause
I suppose.
If you support a British team or whatever, and you wanted to see it and a thing, I get it. And like. But I do think it's a bit weird, isn't it?
I don't know, but I suspect that the fish and chips might be quite unfish and chip like. They might be like sort of
they
squidding.
I think they said it was rubbish.
And the chips were sort of.
No, I think it was more like it was. So the guy who ran them is one of those people who has one of these businessmen who have those like British shops there selling British stuff to expats, and this is just frozen fish and chips exported from some Western country into Japan. So it was not
distributor.
It's not like it's like having a Wetherspoons dinner, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking. Yeah.
Although I do rate Wetherspoons chips.
Yeah,
I think they're excellent.
That's fair enough.
I gave them to my son, and he was like, "These are the best chips ever," and I'm like, "Even better than mine."
Have you either ever seen a ghost in a pub, or have you got any stories about ghosts in a pub?
Well, I've never seen a ghost because I think, crucially, spoiler alert, they don't exist. But when I worked for my first job in the Seven Oaks Chronicle, it was a staple that every Halloween we had to report on ghosts. And I think there was one front page story about a tree that had been blown into the shape of a witch's face.
Brilliant.
And then there was one where I had to stay over one night at a pub haunting, which is basically entertainment in that nothing happens, and then like people downstairs are like throwing shoes up against the wall, and then there's some tiresome woman going, "Oh, can we hear that?"
Oh no!
Yeah,
was that an all-nighter or not quite?
In the sense that I was drinking all night. Yes, it was. Yeah,
so that helped.
Yeah.
So
it was
you
a
didn't get too
lock-in.
tired.
I'm thinking about it. I mean, you've got to look at positives here. It was a lock-in.
Oh, fair enough.
Of a bunch of strange people, but that essentially is working on local news if you throw yourself into it.
Well,
which I mean, I'm not making fun of it.
No,
in fact,
no.
I loved it because it in fact taught the trade in the sense that the best sources were the landlords.
Yeah.
And so if you've ever in Seven Oaks, the pub to go to is the Anchor, and it's run by Barry, and he claims to be the oldest licensee who still works full time.
Okay.
And he's had that pub for ages.
Yeah.
And he sees it as entertainment. Like you are coming into his lounge and he will entertain you.
He's a proper host.
Yeah,
Barry.
And I think, but it's still community.
Good.
It's still community, and the best community thing that he does is that every Christmas Day he opens in the morning, just for his locals, and then he drives them home himself in his car.
That's great. I've heard about things like that, and that is service, isn't it? That is.
There used to be this. In fact, I sort of like get embroiled in all the localness of it all, which I love. I've always wanted to be a local in a pub, and I felt like I was a local there. Yeah. And there was this guy called, and everyone was known by nicknames. This guy was called Hurricane,
Right.
And I don't know how to describe him without defaming him, but he kind of wasn't the most intelligent of people, but he was kind and soft and everything. And it was during the time of, I mean, we're talking 20 odd years ago, so there wasn't like dating apps or anything like that. No. And so he got into chatting to women on cable TV. Can you imagine that's the thing, that you can type in these messages?
Excellent.
But it was some sort of like scam, and he was going to marry this. And so apparently they were like to me, like, can you do a documentary about it? So you go over with him to Africa. Come on, go to Africa with some random in a
stretching it a bit. Yeah.
I don't mind helping you out every now and again. Yeah. But so we tried to pitch it as a documentary. But it was just. So there's a pilot episode of this documentary of this guy Hurricane. But apparently, I left and went back like there was quite a gap, like 15 years or so. Yeah. I went back quite recently. And I think I saw a press release where Barry was saying that he's now never going to retire or something like that. So I was like, I'll interview you. So I interviewed him, and he's like, oh yeah, Hurricane went over and he's got like 2 wives.
Got the update. Oh right. So he did all right. He found love in the end, or
no? I think his wife found money in the end.
That's probably more accurate. Yeah. Have you got a favourite live pub? Or...
Well, I mean, that's really difficult. That's possibly the most difficult of them all, because...
you can have more than one.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have one in each category. So,
okay, do that. Yeah.
So, I think part of the difficulty... So, favourite... Here we go. I'm now going to deconstruct the question.
That's all right. Yeah.
So, favourite was just one that I returned to repeatedly.
Yeah. Something you look fondly back on. So, it might have been a historic favourite, or... from your youth, or it might be a current favourite that you always go back to.
I guess it's really difficult. And I feel like I went to this one recently.
Okay.
Called the Golden Smog, and it's in Stockton-on-Tees. Right. And it's a micro pub in the sense that it took over a place that made headstones. And sold. But it doesn't feel like a micropub in that it's done out like this in sort of traditional style. But within this is the key to. I think this is the essence of what I like about these kind of pubs. Yeah. Is if you scratch underneath the surface, you see all the bits that are really modern, like the beer selection, but also like the anti-fascist signs, football stickers, that kind of thing. Yeah. The guy who runs it is a socialist, and he's all things about. Yeah. So Stockton overwhelmingly voted for Brexit, but it is a Labour era.
Okay.
And so his thing is about taking on the lies and the false news. So someone might come in and say something about immigration, which is totally wrong. And so he was even fact-checking up to the Brexit vote. And he was, when it came to the EU referendum, he had all these customers have a tab, and he had a tab on who was voting Remain, who was voting Leave. Apparently, it was 70% Remain. So this is like a sort of like an enclave within it. And he was saying that the 30% even included like lifelong anarchists who were just voting against globalisation and all this kind of stuff.
Right.
And it has this
interesting.
So when you go in, he is, because of that. It's really warming and welcoming to outsiders. To people, and so. When I went there, I was just like, wow, okay, this is a real good template of how it works in these kind of places which are a bit different to what you get in the southeast of England.
I'm sure,
And so I think, and the beer selection was second to none.
It was good beer.
I think like what was really interesting is that obviously the cask was like very local. Yeah. But the keg was like. They had this one called Mittel, I think, and I had it, and I was like, oh, this must be a Belgian or German Pilsner. It's like, oh no, it's brewed in York. I was like, wow, okay, that's really exceptional. Like this is, and he had the carbonation done right. But then he's a big beer fan. He's gone to all these places.
So he knows
and so what he's done is that he's kept certain bits of the Stockton tradition, which is heavily cask beer with those banked bitters. You ever have one of those? They've bankers are these big cloudy heads that like. No. So he doesn't do those cloudy heads, but they do them elsewhere. Right. It's a bit of a gimmick, he reckons, but it's just really good localism. That's the thing about it's very hard to say what's your best pub, what's your best brewery. all that. What I like is places that are a free house,
Yeah.
where your money is going to a guy who lives locally,
Yeah.
not a corporation.
Yeah.
And I think the problem with beer is that it's hard for people to navigate.
Yeah.
You will get a pub with a nice landlord who's a really good guy, but it's a star pub, you know, a Heineken or whatever, and it's like, but hang on a minute, this is a corporation.
Yeah.
But then you think to yourself, actually, when you look at the options, if the guy's really nice and it's fostering good social cohesion, you've got to go for it.
Ticks boxes,
But
more
ultimately, in an ideal world, you want that in a free house setting, because then you can then choose local breweries, local beers,
and it's all on their terms in a good way. Because some of the little independent breweries are great, and luckily my local does endorse those. So sometimes they're further afield, and certain breweries do swaps and things, don't they, with other counties?
I don't think it matters where you go.
As long as it's a small,
I think as long as it's a small independent brewery, I think, because it's to do with taxation as well. Like the bigger beer, they don't pay as much. No. They don't, often they have shareholders. It's like everything. A lot of people now want to shop locally, and locally means that money stays in that area.
Yeah.
And I think that they don't want shareholders. They don't want foreign ownership.
No. I thought when slightly different, but I think Totnes had their own Totnes pound or something, didn't they?
Yes, yeah.
It was a sort of a certain
Brixton
model
did it as well.
Okay.
These transition towns had it at one stage.
As well. It was a thing.
Yeah.
Have you got a favourite, a dead pub, or a pub that's gone that you miss? Whether it's local to you or beyond. I know there's a lot have gone. But...
I think it's really sad this, because you could think of so many that have disappeared. I guess I felt this when we walked into this pub, actually, because this pub has got bar billiards.
Yes.
There's one near where I live called the Ravensbourne Arms.
Right.
And it was, I think where it was placed was a really important place for a pub, in that it was by a hospital. And so it's a really thing that when you go and visit someone, you sometimes do need to have a beer.
Yeah, it's quite an emotional place or place for emotion.
Yeah, I mean, there is a smaller pub there now, but that pub had bar billiards, and it's multi-purpose. It just, I think the tragedy, I think why I hate the fact that it's shut the most, is that it's just empty. Yeah, it's just nothing now. It's not even flats.
That's when it hurts. When it just sits there.
Why this could be open to And in fact, it's the same with Wetherspoons near me in Forest Hill that shut down, and that's nothing as well. And it's like that shut down, one in Catford shut down, and it's like Wetherspoons are much maligned, but they when they're open can be like a warm space for people. Some people don't use that thing where you get unlimited tea and they just sit there.
Yeah.
In many ways, they replace a lot of things. Like you say, they replace the curry house with the curries, the chippy with the fish and chips. But they have also replaced community centres and places that people could just congregate. I think them lamenting a pub that I liked. It's nothing compared to someone not being able to
you're right.
have that Wetherspoons experience when they're elderly.
Yeah, no, I agree. And like you say about the one by the hospital, it's almost not service, but somewhere for someone to deal with whoever they visited or process things. And there used to be one by the Bedford hospital. There were two, and they're both shut. And a lot of the doctors and nurses used to go in there and hit it hard, and then in the olden days, which is a thing for them,
They'd often be the most diverse, diverse pubs you could go to. The ones by hospitals, the NHS with their diverse stuff. The snowy. It's called the snowy peaks. Where management are white, and then underneath, so the people who might go for a drink are going to be. But I mean, those kind of places. The other kind of thing, the hospital pubs are the ones that don't. The other ones are railway station pubs. Like we're quite near to a railway station.
Could be quite transient.
Yeah. And I think that people's changed because people work from home. All those have changed.
Yeah.
But when I worked in this local paper, we campaigned for this pub called the Farmers, which was a Sevenoaks Station pub. Right. And if you know Sevenoaks at all, then Sevenoaks Station is very far from the high street.
Okay.
It's a long walk.
Out the way,
I think at least 20 minutes up a hill to get to the high street.
Yeah.
And so the pub there was owned by a charity called the Bishopsgate Institute, and they just wanted to turn it into flats. And we were like, but you're a charity, you should see that this is performing a social function. It was that kind of that pub. And it just didn't work. Whatever we did, we even like enlisted the cheeky girls to join the so whenever you had like these like anyone visiting and they wanted some coverage, you'd be like, oh, come and meet me at the farmers.
Was one of the cheeky girls connected to a politician or something?
Lembic Opic,
that's
the Lib Dem. It's often like the transition where you're going from one place to another, and you go into a hospital, like you say, it's like where you can gather your thoughts, but also the staff have a great place to unwind. And I think that a lot of the Desi pubs that I sort of covered, they were for workers, and so they soaked up these things. So like you go to Scotsman in Southall, one of the big, as well as like the Asian customers, a big group of firemen love going in.
So like a post-work pub kind of thing.
I think that post-work thing is really important because it's people's like transition, isn't it? From their work to their leisure to their home life. It's
nice to see the ebb and flow of the people, like the builders come in at full, the gear on, and then you get the people come in a bit later on with their suits and whatever, and it's interesting to see that. Then the people with their going out shirts on after that. So you see the different patterns of
this really is a Bedfordshire thing, the going out shirts.
Going out shirts, something jazzy.
We haven't even mentioned it, but I'm a Bedfordshire lad, and so I grew up in a place that not only has loads of dead pubs, but also dead high street in Dunstable.
Dunstable, right?
And so like there was this. Did you ever cover it in your thing, the Ritzy nightclub?
No, but I've heard of it.
In the Quadrant.
Classic name,
It was seen as like the most, in my eyes, the most illicit thing going, because it was like the nightclub. What could it be like? And then when you get older, you go to it and you go, pretty shit. Did you ever go to or ever know about the one in the Milton Keynes in the Point?
Yes, I used to go there.
You say that was but it was, what was it called again? It was called
the club?
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
Was it Club Europa or something like that?
Well,
it was called
they used to do a rock night on a Thursday,
right?
And that was interesting.
In my head, that was very sort of like Parisian.
Okay.
I remember as a child for all this.
Like the Louvre.
The
Point was like the Louvre.
The Point was like the Louvre. And but also, when you think about it, logistically, it's crazy because a lot of it was glass.
Yeah.
So you'd be just looking out onto that kind of American style.
It's like Blade Runner.
Milton Keynes was crazy because you had like a decayed market town, and then you had this futuristic, modernist, brutalist thing built, which was sucking the life out of where I grew up because that's why everyone was going to the shops.
Migrated to there.
But when you went apart from that, and maybe the concrete cows, and they had a cathedral with an end shop, the rest was just crap shops.
Just chain shops.
Chain shops.
So was there a good boozer that you remember in Dunstable, or?
Well, a lot of them were very sort of, problematic places to go. You'll have a bit of racism. You'll just end up meeting the same boring people.
Okay.
But there was this one called, there were two. There were the Bird in Hands.
Remember that?
Was like a I guess the best way of playing it is a motorcycle pub. And it had a disco. It's a disco, you'd say, it had a disco on Friday nights.
A DJ guy.
A DJ guy who played Offspring.
Okay.
That kind of stuff, which was great. And when I was around, 16 to 18, this was like amazing.
Something different. Yeah.
There was also another rock venue in the middle part of like it was one of, and it also had strippers.
Oh.
So it had like this thing where that was the back of the pub, and we would play pool, and we didn't get involved in that.
No.
But I remember coming out of that one night, and I had a Dinosaur Junior T-shirt, and this girl was like, "Dinosaur Junior are shit." This is kind of like. I think she was quite drunk, and I'm not sure she knew who Dinosaur Junior were, because otherwise she wouldn't be saying that, would she?
Of course not.
And time has proved her wrong.
No, absolutely not. No, I think I gave my Dinosaur Junior T-shirt away. I gave it to my dad, and he used it for decorating. With hindsight, I'm like, the back print as well.
Yeah, that's Yeah, I
These
don't know what
things-
happened to that
No.
Dinosaur Junior T-shirt, but it's probably you say it's worth a lot, but that would
Well-
be worth a lot if I hadn't ever worn it.
Yeah,
and then
I mean-
no one's gonna ever do. No one buys
No.
a T-shirt, and
No.
then
Yeah, well, they tend to have funny. The armpits going there, stuck in your loft, and it might go a bit manky and shrink. And,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I mean, I think what was interesting is that I
Yeah.
see, like when my dad used to go out in Dunstable, it was a different kettle of fish because there was
Yeah.
the Queensway Hall, which had the wrestling. They
Oh.
had this incredible futuristic. I'll have to send you a photo of this pub.
Yeah.
Look, it was just this. It was out towards the Dunstable Downs, and it was just this. It's like something from a Pixar cartoon.
Not the windsock.
That's it, the windsock. Yeah.
Mad architecture.
Yeah, so
is it
I
like a
think-
Bernie Inn or something?
Yeah.
No,
Well, I don't know.
Anyway,
I
something,
don't know. He
yeah.
went to it. Like,
Okay.
he would drive in his Capri Laser.
You
then
painted
go and
a
have-
picture here. Yeah, it's like a Pixar film.
have some drinks, drive back drunk because he used to do that all the
Well, in
time.
the old days, no
In the old
seatbelts.
days.
Yeah. Smoking in the car with children.
Yeah. So he did all that.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, no, he did. And,
So did
it's
mine.
absolutely fucking terrifying. but
Very different at the time. Yeah.
but I think really when he came, when you look back at what we're losing,
Yeah.
is that there was a golden age there.
Yeah.
Of
Yeah.
cheap pints. I remember pints being so cheap when I first started drinking. I mean, I started drinking when I was like 14, and I remember like the pints and packets of 20 Marlboro Lights, which don't even exist anymore.
No.
You could just get a pretty crap job and be able to.
Yeah.
That's all you needed. But there was another dead pub I saw you cover in Luton that I went to. So I had this. This weird period that's kind of not explained in my career. Obviously, I went to university, but when I was 16, actually when I was 15, I left school. I was suspended a few times. I just didn't get on with school. It's a common thing with people of colour, and I just got a job, and it was selling carpet cleaning door to door. So you'd go and say do the spiel, and then and the people I did that with, because you go in a car with a bunch of people and you do it, and they were all just signing on as well as doing this job, and they would smoke joints and stuff like that. And so, like, I had never smoked a joint before, and I remember once passing out in Barclays Bank, where I had a whitey in like 11 o'clock on a Thursday. But we went to this pub, and that's that pub that you featured, and we would just smoke joints and play pool in that all the time.
I'll go
It's
back
a flat,
to it and
it's
mention it
what
afterwards.
people call a flat pub.
The Yeoman, the Bedfordshire
Yes, the
Yeoman.
Bedfordshire
How could I
Yeoman.
forget
Yes, the
Bedfordshire Yeoman? Yeah.
And also a few of those pubs around Marsh Farm I went to. Some of those, so some pubs I went to which had raves in as well. Like you mentioned this. Like when I saw your book, I was like, okay, I've been to that pub. I remember that pub.
Yeah.
And there was one that was like towards the M1, I think, or towards one of the motorways. I remember going to a rave there.
Right.
And I remember there was one. I can't remember if it was a wheat sheaf or something. There was one in Dunstable I went to. Where we'd go and then we'd go to a rave in Marsh Farm and things like that. But I was far too young to be. I was luckily was sensible, didn't really take drugs.
No.
But I think there were friends of mine who did take drugs, and there were people who looked after them, which became. So my issue is with the super clubs that I started to go to. There was no one that cared. They wanted you to take them. Where there was more of a communal socialist element to the race.
Yeah, so a bit more responsible in a way.
And I think really, when I say like these pubs were problematic, they had races and stuff. Yeah, they did have that, but there was a sense that you were part of this thing. They seemed to tolerate crustiness, which we were really.
That could go either way.
Yeah,
they might not tolerate crusties.
They didn't like travellers, but they saw. I definitely was more hippie, crusty, raver than an alternative. That was like, he's. Even though he's Asian, he's you roll him into that thing, and then
you were sort of crusty light.
Yes, I guess.
Tidy.
Yes, whereas really. No.
Didn't start dreading.
I still, I gave up going to Glastonbury a long time ago. I can't deal with the squalor.
No,
now I'm like,
no, it's too much.
Yeah, but there was a lot of squalor in those days. But I saw it as like really cool. Yeah. But then when you get to, but when you have it for enough time, I remember being in a rave in a warehouse, and I opened the door and a woman was in the toilet, and it was just like, this is bleak. This is no glamour in it. And so what the super clubs did is they took all that out,
You did the early days of Fabric. Do you
Yeah,
remember
Fabric,
that? Yeah. So I remember there being a bed by the
the-
bar, and that confused me. And I was quite intrigued, and I got given some lollipops, and I thought that was nice.
So back,
Wasn't sure
yeah,
why.
so I'm trying to get
So
my
sort of James Lavelle, sort of
yeah.
that sort of DJ. No, yeah.
So Fabric was Farringdon, wasn't it? Yeah, so Fabric was the big one I went
Yeah,
to. And
yeah.
so towards the end of when I was going, they did have the chill-out rooms with paramedics and things like that.
Yeah, I remember a place we'd been for just a night out with beers, and we ended up wandering around Holborn, and we went down this basement. There was a party, but there was just a table with lots of bottles of water on it, and we were confused. We just wanted beer.
Yes.
But we knew, then we realised
Yeah.
why, and there was like some good music on,
Yeah.
but no booze, and I was like, that's why. Yeah,
Well, I mean, that's why it's perhaps good that we have sessionable beers.
yeah, true. Yeah, we just wanted more beer.
You know, I've always been that. I never
No,
differ.
no.
We always have the can of whatever Foster's or whatever it was.
Yeah.
rather than having a bottle of water.
Okay, so is there a band scene in a pub that you remember?
So we were trying to look on
Yes.
Google for this
Yes.
pub in Leeds.
Yes.
And so I went to a gig, and my mate was like, "You've got to see this guy. He's a bit crazy. He's called John Otway." And so in the 90s, we went there, and it was really good. It's really funny.
Yeah.
It's actually what I kind of like it when musicians don't take themselves too seriously.
No.
Well, obviously, if they're super talented, then very unlikely they're going to come out and be self-deprecating.
Yeah.
But what was really funny was we were having this conversation about Beatles or Stones or what.
Kinks.
And he was over here. We were going for a piss in the urinals, and then he poked his head out and then gave us his opinion of the arguments keep continuing, don't they? And then I think he even drove away in his Sinclair C5 to make it a perfect evening.
What? I think he's still going.
Yeah, he is.
Gigging.
I went to Edinburgh a few years back now. It was about 10 years.
Yeah.
And I saw him driving around in Sinclair C5. And I did that thing of waving and he's not going to know who I am. He's it's in a darkened toilet. It's like 20 years, 30 years ago. Yeah. He's not going to know who I am. But I still thought I'd give it a go.
Yeah. So was that the Duchess of York or?
Possibly, I think so. Yeah, I think it was. Yeah. I mean, Leeds. There was some great stuff we saw in the mid '90s. Then, I remember we saw Chumbawamba a few times.
Okay.
Went to the Town and Country Club. Had some brilliant. And there was I'm big into my jazz, and so there was this jazz club that was next to that. Maybe the Underground. It was called the Underground.
Right.
And then the Phono was really good, which is this golf club, which was really naff because it was next to a Morrison's. But I had my 18th birthday there. I remember my for my 18th birthday, my flatmate bought me the first Sleeper album. In Betweener.
Yeah.
No. Or they bought me the second one, the Itco. I can't remember which one, but it's just to me, to me, Leeds is about the 90s. I have been back since. But I get these real. For me, it's all connected to that part of West Yorkshire.
It's a nice place. So we went back a few years ago. Well, no, a couple of years ago. I think it was the Dry Dock pub's still there.
That used to have giant Connect Four.
Yes.
And the Otley Run would end there. There's all end there, but no one would ever make it that far.
No.
But there would be apocryphal stories of people making it. But a giant Connect Four used to cause this huge commotion when anyone emptied a big clatter when people emptied it. Yeah.
Well, I think my nephew did the
You're making me really want to go to the Dry Dock. So just for anyone who's never been, it's basically a boat that's moored in a city centre, isn't it? But a university part of the city centre. There probably is a great history to it all, but it's just, and the Otley Run is this. It's kind of bittersweet because it is ruined Headingley, which is beautiful.
Yeah,
but apparently every Saturday or bank holiday weekend, it's just full of stag and
there's a cricket ground up that way.
Yeah, so where the cricket ground is on the. So I lived in Headingley, that bit on Cardigan Road and Escort.
Oh, that rings a bell.
Yeah, Cardigan Road's the one that runs from. I've got to get this right. Burley, Kirkstall, to Headingley, and then I lived in near towards Far Headingley.
Right.
to me is like like Hampstead.
Yeah.
Hampstead of the North.
Yeah.
And
Lovely.
I'd love like to live there. And Chapel Alderson was the other place that I thought was very good.
Right.
I think what's really good about Leeds actually is that they've got a strong beer culture, but their pubs are excellent, and even the Green King pubs are next level. Real local places. Go and watch the racing in the day.
Yeah.
Have some great beers.
Yeah. Just bring the pubs in a good way.
I think it's been regenerated, and they're holding on to some heritage pubs. So you got White Locks.
Yeah.
You've got Telly Brewery now, and then that one. So the guys at Kirksall Brewery who like saved Tetley Brewery, they've saved another pub in the sense it's kind of. I say Victorian, but everything looks Victorian. Probably is interwar or later, but those beautiful stained glass windows, brown tables, very nice long bar pubs. And they've made so much. White Locks has, a city centre pub, but for a city centre, you can get pints all around. Thornbridge pub in the Banker's Cat is so good as well. These are affordable pints in the city centre. I think it's like so playable. Yeah. If only you could turn left out the train station, because it's always being under construction.
Being developed. Yeah. I remember when they first opened up a Harvey Nichols there. It was like, it's gone posh.
That Victoria Quarter is
change.
I think there are like kind of nouveau riche elements to it, but I think fundamentally for me it's an alternative, rugged, left wing town.
On a revisit, I really liked it. There was the Corn Exchange.
Yeah, the Corn Exchange.
Charlie Parker's bar at the bottom.
Did it?
Charlie Parker's bar. Anyway, and it was all nice little independent units. So it was like expensive denim, and then there was a nice little fanzine shop and bits and bobs, good stuff.
I think it was. Yeah. If Camden Market wasn't owned by a twat, that's what Camden Market would be like.
Anecdotes you can.
So I have this weird obsession with a pub which is sadly now dead, actually, and it died a few weeks ago, and it's in Hartlepool train station, and it's run by this guy called Pete Morgan, and Pete Morgan was one of these you tell it how it is people, a landlord who and what's so special about that is that normally happens in a neighbourhood pub, doesn't it? Not in a pub in a train station. No. So this guy only served cask on gravity, so 3 barrels, and then the other beers were bottled Belgian beers, and there were big signs saying no Fosters, all this. And so people walk in because it's a train station pub. Hartlepool's quite a big town, isn't it? And they'll walk in and they'll say, "What lagers have you got?" And he'll just not do eye contact, look at the ground, and go, "Weatherspoons." And he just was so. What it was, his history was that he really liked those first micropubs that opened up in Kent, and he went to that Camera conference. Discovered about them, and then decided to take that up to Hartlepool, and it was like a lost property office in Hartlepool.
Took it sort of appropriated space.
He took it over and then did it exactly how he wanted to do it with his rules. But in that space that he is in Hartlepool is a massive brewery called Cameron's, and you wouldn't have heard of them, but they're not. They're massive, but they contract brew. At one time, they were brewing Fosters out there. And he's so anti-lager that the lads who were brewing came in with Foster's shirts, and he barred them.
Not having it.
And so he has these signs that say no Fosters, which was like a bit... They have no big culture of Fosters in Hartlepool. So it's a bit strange, and there's always and so but I guess the anecdote is that I interviewed him for Beer, which is the Camera magazine, and it was lovely, great, and I really wanted to know about him. And I also interviewed Martin Hillier, who's the guy who did the talk that inspired him to do it. And it was this idea of sadly he's going to close. And so I went up sort of about a couple of months ago, and I thought I'd be afforded a hero's welcome. I thought I'd be David, thanks very much for that. Thank you so much. There's loads of people have come. That's what I normally get. He just went, yep, saw the article, yep.
And that's shut now.
Sadly, it was really
Yeah.
good because what he did was he had everything on Gravity, but I'd previously not liked on Gravity. I found it. I like the more of the body you get through a beer engine, but his were always so well conditioned that I had a Thornbridge Joy Pur that I was like, this is better here than anywhere else I've ever had, and that's quite incredible because he's just literally got a tap dispensing it.
So that's much missed, because that unique pint,
And he had every single.
Yeah.
I mean, we're here and they have the badges up, but he had every single one that he's ever done, which included Brewdog, and it's all gone.
It's all gone. I wonder what it is now.
But, I'll be into. Yeah, I'll find. I'm actually talking to him tomorrow morning.
Might be a Timpsons or something.
I think so. Hopefully, someone has taken it over.
Yeah.
And I think they're probably dispensing Fosters as we speak.
They might well be. Yeah. Some call it cooking lager.
You don't want to cook with it.
Last orders at the bar, please. Do your talking, walking. Okay, thanks for listening. I also asked David to choose 3 songs from the jukebox, and he chose Sleeper, Shrink Wrapped, Beach House, Space Song, and Miles Davis, Bess, You Is My Woman Now. Nice. Check out David's book Desi Pubs and his Substack page, Episodes of My Pub Life and Desi Food Guide. And he's on Instagram at David Desi Pubs. Links are in the episode notes. And don't forget to like, follow Pubs of the Shire. Thank you. Bye.